What's going on, deados? It's that time of year again. Pat's football and pumpkin spice lattes at Stah-bucks. Oh, and it's Halloween. Welcome to the Death and Entertainment Spooktacular number 3. In past episodes, we told you about the Plainfield Ghoul, the fucking Halloween Killer, the Milwaukee Cannibal. But now it's time to put Wisconsin in the rear view, because we're booking it to Beantown for a brand new Trilogy of Terror. It's gonna be real pissa.
First up is the gripping tale of the Boston Strangler. Pun very much intended. Next, we post a spine-chilling account of the Craigslist Killer. And then, we reach our final destination, the horrifying story of the Fiendish Fugitive, who one of us may or may not be related to.
We are. So lock the doors, turn on the flashlights, and get ready for a wicked good time. That's today on Death and Entertainment. Any Duncan.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
We're in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder,
Injury and death.
Oh my God! Shocking new details
That has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death.
In entertainment.
Greetings, boils and ghouls.
What's up?
What's up, everybody? My name's Kyle Plouffe.
My name is Mark Mulcairn.
And I'm Alejandro Dowling.
And this year, for the Halloween Spooktacular, we leave Wisconsin and we go straight to Boston. Let's fucking go.
This cat's fucked up, dude. Okay, well, we're going to start it off with the Boston Strangler.
A strangler.
Why bury the lead here? Let's start off with the big boy.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most infamous killer in Boston history, correct?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how far back you go. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's someone in the 1600s massacring people left and right. Well, the Boston Massacre, that was a pretty bad one.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, Crispus Attucks from Framingham, Massachusetts.
But it wasn't
Oh,
just...
shit.
First person killed in the Revolutionary War, I should say.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one person, though.
No.
I'm talking about one serial killer, like in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, dare I say, good luck topping Wisconsin.
It's gonna be tough.
It took us 2 years to cover the depravity in Wisconsin.
And we didn't really cover everything either, so we could very well go back to Wisconsin easily. Yeah, Boston, I was surprised to learn that there's not really many serial killers that come out of Massachusetts.
Just scumbags.
Yeah, just dirtbags.
Yeah, just low lives. They don't stoop to killing multiple people who are innocent.
Yeah, they're too busy digging around in the dumpsters at the Tang factory to be killing people. So.
They're doing angel dust in Dunkin' Donuts fucking parking lot.
Or you got famous actors who make old guys blind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg, if you're
Yeah.
not catching his drift there.
Yeah,
Beat the shit out of a random person just
he
for
was
being
there.
Asian.
He was there. He didn't stop it. He did it.
Yeah.
Speaking of goons, but anyway, let's
Yeah.
get into the Boston Strangler.
Boston Blinder to the Boston Strangler.
Exactly. It's
hey.
a natural progression
There you go.
or regression.
Yeah.
So the Boston Strangler is the name given to the murderer, whoever it may be, of 13 women in the greater Boston area during the 1960s. A local man, Albert DeSalvo, was considered to be what was later dubbed the Boston Strangler, though he was never convicted of any of these 13 murders. Yes, exactly. Real head scratcher. He was convicted of something else. In the years following his conviction, but prior to the emergence of this DNA evidence, various parties investigating the crime suggested that the murders were done by multiple people. Oh. So, yes, he was considered the person of interest. Yes, he confessed to the murders, but he was not convicted in a court of law of these murders.
Wow.
That's why this is very confusing. So at first, the Boston police were apprehensive to call this a serial killer in the first place. So it was like 1962, women were just being found murdered and tied up by like one of their negligees or bras or panties or something like that, or pantyhose a lot of the times. And they just considered, okay, well, that's weird, but we're just going to call it a couple of random murders, In Boston, they like to keep a certain level of calm.
Yeah.
Especially the police. That's especially when they're not doing fucking anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen some of those Pats games.
Yeah. They're pretty unruly.
Yeah. Hooligans.
Yeah, so at first they didn't want to call it that. They just wanted to call it a couple of murders, but the idea of serial killers was, I don't think that term was even the term yet, serial killer. They just called them like mass murders.
It was before some of the big ones, before Ted Bundy,
Yeah.
and Gacy and Dahmer.
Yeah, the 70s was really like the
heyday.
The heyday of the
Yeah.
serial killer. We're not there yet.
It was the invention of the serial killer in the summer blockbuster, I think. With
Yeah.
The 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like the 1950s to like the 1960s rock explosion. So this is like, there's not much going on yet. So this is like the only game in town.
Yeah, you had CBGBs and the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Get up.
I watched that. You guys watch Mindhunter, the David Fincher show on Netflix? I think they actually do coin the term in that real life case that they're following.
Oh.
They do
with
coin
Kemper?
the term, for Kemper,
Yeah.
serial killer. And I think it became like a pop culture like buzz after that. So yeah, everything in Boston had been relatively safe. All of a sudden, these single women start being found murdered in their homes, and the Boston police do not know what to do with it. Initially, the crimes were assumed to be the work of one unknown person called the first. They workshopped this title so many times. At first, it was the Mad Strangler of Boston.
That's a little bit more formal.
Yeah. July 8th, 1962, the Sunday Herald, which is now basically the Boston Herald, wrote that a mad strangler is loose in Boston in an article titled "Mad Strangler Kills 4 Women in Boston." So pretty straightforward there. I think you know what you're getting into with that article, I think. The killer was also known as the Phantom Fiend and the Phantom Strangler. So they went through a couple of ideas before they got to the Boston Strangler.
Are they running a newspaper or a vault of horror comic?
Yeah.
Let's get serious here, folks.
Why so serious? It was the Phantom Strangler, I think, was due to the guy's ability to get women to allow him into their apartments. So he's like a smooth talker. Is Phantom. I don't get that.
Gotta let nature take its course.
Yeah.
Let me in the fucking house!
Is that Fear?
Yeah.
Oh, we got
Mark
our
Wahlberg.
first Fear reference. Second Wahlberg reference.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming, yeah.
Yeah, Phantom implies that he's not seen,
Yeah.
or what?
Yeah, but I guess he's not seen. That's why, because there's no eyewitnesses that see him coming and going. He just seems to know that single women are home, they're alone, and it's a good time to go and kill them.
And that's a trait of the best serial killers, the smooth talking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're wondering, how is this guy able to get into these apartments? Like, because there's no breaking and entering. They notice like the lock isn't broken. There's no windows broken. He's not coming up through like the fire escape or anything. He's just able to smooth talk his way into these. So it seems like a professional thing,
Wow.
because during this time, people were just very, I think, trusting of just random people that they found. As long as they had like a professional suit on or something, you're like, okay, this is on the up and up.
Yeah, we need to check for rats.
Yeah.
We're here to check the air conditioner. People go, oh, okay, come on in.
Yeah.
You want a cup of coffee?
Where do you want to look? In your pants.
And it is the era of the hitchhiker.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
As you said, everyone's trusting. They'd give rides to strangers, let strangers in their houses.
Yeah. And this is before, strange people would just like hitchhike, just for no reason, It just, assuming they're not going to get hacked to pieces.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, assuming this hitchhiker's not going to hack me to pieces once,
Right.
Yeah.
once I start driving.
I'm gonna leave my car at home. I'm gonna go hitchhiking.
You
I don't
see
wanna
that?
Spend gas.
You see that shirtless hippie up there covered in blood? Let's see where he's going.
Pick him up. Yeah. Hey, man, what's with that blood?
Get in.
You're in the trunk an hour later.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have let him in that car. You're tied up with that hippie shirt.
Yeah.
So, these two investigative reporters in 1963, these dogged reporters for the Record American, which again is the Boston Herald. There's two big papers in Boston. There's the Boston Herald and the Boston Globe. The Herald is kind of...
It's a rag.
It's the more like bullshit. It's like the Inquirer version of a newspaper.
Like the New York Post.
It's not quite as
Yes,
bad as the
it-
Post, but it's up there.
Well, they're both owned by Rupert Murdoch and Fox and whatever.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, whatever that company is. It's still, they're both owned by him. So they're like tabloids, basically.
But they're breaking this story.
They're the ones breaking this story. They're the ones actually getting the real hard facts on the cases and like just reporting them.
Yeah.
Like hardcore, like facts that you would not like to see out there. And it cuts both ways because a lot of people are like, basically these two women whose names are Loretta McLaughlin and Jean Cole. They wrote a four-part series on the killer, dubbing him the Boston Strangler. So they coined that. And a lot of people were like, all right, this lurid detail is basically giving any just psycho out there a roadmap of how to just kill single women now.
Yeah. But also, it's like, how do you report on that without kind of telling people how it happened and what exactly happened?
You can dance around it with like some vague details here and there.
Yeah.
But why bother report it? I don't know. They were getting so much lurid detail about what was going on that it was pissing off the cops because the cops also, not only is it giving like other psychos a roadmap and maybe producing a copycat killer, but also it is like any maniac who didn't do any killings could also go in and explain why they were the killer, the Boston Strangler. Because it becomes like, it's like a very 60s thing, like Lee Harvey Oswald. People just want to be involved in the stories. They don't care whether or not they're going to prison because they're crazy anyway.
Right.
And that seems absurd nowadays to imagine not getting all the details in this age of true crime podcasts.
Yeah.
And just everywhere you can find any detail about anything.
Yeah.
And an explicit detail.
Yeah. So the first murder happens June 14, 1962. I have like a kind of a cool map here. They're pretty well spread out. This it leads me to believe that there is a copycat killer involved in this. Because they go from like the greater Boston area, which is like Boston proper is what's considered everything on like the peninsula that goes up to the North Station there.
Yeah.
So where like the Boston Garden is and stuff. So everything within that is considered like Boston proper, like that island basically. As you get further out, it becomes like you get to like Brookline, Brighton, Allston. Those are like kind of the outer areas of Boston. And then south of the city, you got South Boston, and then north of it, you have North End, and then Charlestown.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, that 435 Columbia Road, that's like the Southie Dorchester kind of intersect right there.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of them actually happened in Dorchester, and some were in some like rougher neighborhoods and stuff. So I was surprised, like, especially that Mary Sullivan, that was the last one on 44A Charles Street. That was like kind of the lower end of Dorchester there. I was surprised how spread out these were, which we'll go into more detail here. So let me go into all the murders which happened between June 15, 1962 and January 4th, 1964. 13 single women between the ages of 19 and 85 were murdered. They were eventually all tied to what was dubbed the Boston Strangler. Most of the women were sexually assaulted in their apartments and then strangled with articles of clothing of theirs. The oldest woman died of a heart attack and not necessarily being strangled.
Jeez.
That was So
So she did it on her own terms.
I guess so. She said, "Fuck you, Boston Strangler. I'm going out on my own."
You can't fire me. I quit.
Yeah. Okay, so victim number 1, Anna Slezers, a 55-year-old seamstress and devout churchgoer, was the first victim to be murdered on the evening of June 14, 1962. She lived alone in a modest brick house apartment at 77 Gainsborough Street in Boston. So her son, Juris, was meant to come by to pick her up for a memorial service when he discovered her body in the bathroom with a cord around her neck, tied in a bow. The son just assumed that she committed suicide.
Oh, Gainsborough. This is right next to like the Boston Symphony in Mass Ave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
This is
more
Boston.
more in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
So that, as we were saying, the Boston proper area.
Yep.
So
Next to the symphony.
Kind of. Yeah. There's a permanent symphony theater there, and it's also a train stop. And then Fenway Park is just a couple miles over that way.
yeah.
So people were enjoying classical music, and then this lady's being strangled by a cord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next thing you know.
Brutal.
Yeah. Detectives James Melton and John Driscoll found her in an obscene state, nude and stripped of dignity. She was sexually assaulted. Her place had been ransacked. They first thought it was just a botched burglary, so they just kind of chalked it up to that, and they moved on. This is until victim number 2 was found.
How do you see a sexual assault and say, "Oh, this is the burglar fucked up"?
Let's consider the fact also that these are drunk bum cops.
Yeah.
And they want to go to like PJ Clark's or something after this and like for happy hour. And they just want to file this report as quickly as possible and be done with it.
Time to go to Murphy's Law.
Which is 9 out of 10 Boston cops are just drunks. You know, no offense if you're out there, guys. But let's be honest. Well, that brings us to victim number 2. Just under 3 weeks later, on June 28, 1962, 85-year-old Mary Mullen was also found murdered in her home. This is the one in which Miss Mullen died of a heart attack rather than be murdered.
Could you imagine surviving 85 years?
Yeah.
And then this creep enters your apartment and you have a heart attack. That's how you go.
I think of that all the time. Like, if anytime I hear about someone older, even the 55-year-old, that was my first thought. Like, you make it to your 50s and then you're just murdered by a stranger in your own house. Like,
Yeah.
that
It's
is
just so random and insane.
crazy.
2 days later, victim number 3 is found. The body of 68-year-old Nina Nichols was also discovered in the Brighton area of Boston.
There's a lot of alliteration going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Mullen,
Nina
Nina
Nichols.
Nichols.
Yeah.
Brighton, Boston.
Yeah, it sounds like all the names that Will Hunting made up on the spot when
Yeah.
all his brothers and sisters, Ricky, Johnny, Bean, you know.
Yeah.
The sequel is Nice Nina Nichols.
Directed by Ben Affleck. Yeah, this is in the Brighton area where I lived for a while. This is actually where I was struck by a car.
Yeah.
Not too right around the corner from this address. I was the victim of a hit and run driver in the middle of the night in 2005, I want to say. And yeah, there's a lot of crime that goes down there that does not get solved.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours is unsolved.
Unsolved
That
also.
needs to be emphasized.
I know.
So if you're out there listening to this, asshole,
Yeah.
we're going to find you.
What was it
Come on
on
up.
Washington Street?
It was on Washington Street,
Yeah,
yeah.
there
Right
you
in front
go.
of the Last Drop bar, which is still there.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure like 2 Boston cops are getting hammered at right now. Rather than investigate a crime.
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting peeled off the floor at the Corab pub.
Yeah. Let's get one more. Yeah, the guy's on the floor face down in the bathroom. I'll have one more, please.
One more.
Yeah, they're like, you're in the bathroom, buddy.
Yeah. You don't know my wife.
We closed 3 hours ago, Driscoll. Then on the same day that Nina Nichols was found, victim number 4 is found. A second body was discovered a few miles north of Boston in the suburb of Lynn, the city of sin. Helen Baker was a 65-year-old divorcee, and her murder was more gruesome. She had suffered lacerations to her genitals. Again, the bow trademark was evident, this time made from tying her bra around her neck. Like the previous crimes, the scene appeared to be a burglary. So it looks like a burglary because all the shit is fucked up. So it looks like some burglar is trying to find, stuff to steal, and it looks like maybe they got away with stuff.
Yeah. And this is like, now this is very spread out. Like at least before it was all parts of Boston.
Yeah.
This is suburb. Lynn is like not close.
Yeah, Lynn is like, it's a pain in the ass to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got pulled over in Lynn a couple months ago.
Oh, friggin' guy.
Yeah. Well, they shut down the whole city because the Subnet tunnel was closed.
Jesus, you have a lot of bad luck.
I know, yeah. When's the good luck portion come here?
If I were you, I'd keep it in the rear view.
yeah. Stick to Hollywood here, baby.
One theory could be that he's spreading it out so that it's hard to get on his trail.
Yep. I think that's it. You bring up a very good point, Alejandro, but remind me a little bit because there's something that I want to bring up about that.
All right.
But at this point, there's no suspects. So let's live in the moment of no suspects. But after murder number 4, they have to, even the Boston police has to acknowledge that there is a serial killer in the mist.
All right, where's the paperwork?
Ah, fuck. Yeah, they have to get their tab at the fucking bar. Yeah. And they have to go fill out some paperwork and actually do some police work for once.
Leave my tab open. I'll be back.
Yeah. So Police Commissioner Edmund McNamara cancels all police leave due to the severity of the situation. So they're like, all right, no more time off, you scumbags. Don't go to Cape Cod or up to Winthrop.
What's it, Hotel California in here?
Yeah. A warning went out via the media to Boston's female population. Women were advised to lock their doors and be cautious of strangers. Police profiling had already decided, in all probability, they were looking for a psychopath whose hatred of older women may actually be linked to his own relationship with his mother.
How did they figure that?
I don't know. There's no profiling at this time. So I think whatever profiling has happened is a very crude version of it. And yeah, some guy named Fitzy in like some room somewhere in Boston that's like, yeah, the guy hates his ma.
Yeah.
And he's a weirdo.
Yeah, they just watched the movie Psycho and based it on that.
That could have been that, actually. You might be right. So that leads us to victims number 5 and 6. A 5th brutal slaying took place at 7 Grove Garden in Boston's West End on August 19th. This one, you're going to have trouble finding that address because if you know anything about Boston's West End, it actually got demolished in the late 60s or early 70s, one of those. It was like over near, it was near the Boston's Wharf and the aquarium and stuff. It was an entire neighborhood that they just leveled to the ground in order to build condos and, I don't know, some bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were pissed about this, but they did it anyway. There's like a little shrine down there for the poor people that lived on the West End.
Yeah, it's right on the water.
Yeah, right on the water. They threw him right in the water.
Yeah.
Now it's a Starbucks.
Yeah, it's a Wahlburgers now.
Yeah.
It's
the
another
headquarters.
Mark reference.
Yes, our third
There we
Mark-
go.
The victim this time was a 75-year-old widow named Ida Urga. She had been strangled, and she was on her back on the floor wearing a brown nightdress, which was ripped and exposing her body. Her legs were apart and resting on 2 chairs, and a cushion had been placed under her buttocks. Again, there was no sign of forced entry. Less than 24 hours later, the body of Jane Sullivan was found not far from the previous victim at 435 Columbia Road in Dorchester, the DOT. The 65-year-old nurse had been murdered a week before and was found dead in the bathroom. She had been strangled by her own nylons.
She was in the bathroom.
Yes,
She should have stayed in the bathroom.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
I think she did.
Yeah, I think that's where.
Oh, that's where she was murdered?
Yes.
Yeah, that's. Where she
Oh,
was
I
murdered.
sounded callous. I didn't mean to.
Scoundrel.
I thought she left the bathroom, then got strangled.
No.
Yeah, she should have left the bathroom. Am I right?
That's right.
All right, you redeemed yourself. But yeah, this is deep in the heart of Dorchester this time. Victims number 7 and 8. It was 3 months before the Strangler struck again. So he took a little break. He
Went to Cape Cod.
took a sabbatical. Yeah, he went to Cape Cod. Yeah, he went to Winthrop. This time the victim was younger. Sophie Clark was a 21-year-old black student who was very mindful of her safety and rarely dated. Her body was found on December 5th, 1962, a few blocks away from the first victim, Slessor. Clark was found nude and had been sexually assaulted.
Ugh.
She had been strangled by her own stockings, and authorities discovered semen for the first time. Somehow,
in general, they just found out about what semen is.
yeah. Hey, Saj, you hear about this new thing?
Holy shit!
These are the dumbest. The Saj is like, you guys are the dumbest crew of cops ever in the world. Why don't I just fire you?
It's like a Richard Pryor joke where he said the first time he jerked off, he thought he was gonna die, and then he was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "Wait till Dad finds out about this."
Yeah. And Richard Pryor actually grew up in a whorehouse too.
Yeah.
Sexual worker house. Somehow, despite Sophie's precaution, she had still let in the murderer. So another one let into her place.
Maybe it was so ingrained in her head that he only struck older women that she thought she was safe.
Possibly, but now he's making a change here. And his first person of color victim, too. Although Clark did not fit the same profile as the other victims, the police were sure it was the work of the same killer. Furthermore, this time they had a lead regarding the killer's possible identification. A female neighbor informed the police that a man had knocked on her door, insisting that he had been sent to paint her apartment. He finally left after she told him that her husband was sleeping in the next room. Good lie. 3 weeks later, another woman's life ended tragically. Patricia Bissett was 23, pregnant, and she was found dead in her apartment near the area where the first one happened and where Clark lived also. So in like that Dorchester area.
Jesus.
So what could they do with the semen at this time?
Not much.
I know it's before DNA.
Yeah,
technology.
we'll get to that later also, because that is they can actually test it at this time. The technology for DNA tracing is not really there yet.
But could they match it to the right semen if they had the right semen to match to?
That sounds like a movie, The Right Semen.
They just go,
About a couple trying to have a baby, but they can't.
it's a mandate. They go around to all the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
All right, here's your cup.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, they go door to door looking for semen. All right.
And you'll find a lot of semen on mandates. If you know what I mean.
Especially in P-Town.
Yeah.
So this victim, Bissett, was discovered by her boss when she didn't turn up for work. Her body laid in her bed covered by sheets, and she had been sexually assaulted and strangled with her own stockings. After this attack, Boston police scrambled to find the killer or killers. Every sex offender on the Boston police files was interviewed and checked, yet still nothing turned up. So, Kyle, your whole family was all...
Yeah.
Your ancestors.
Anyone named Plouffe was sent down the state.
They were proud. They were trying to take credit.
They were all lined up, on Yawkey Way or something.
Wait till you hear this shit.
Yeah. Do I get a story for you? A few months go by without another attack, so he must have taken another sabbatical or break or something. So we have a little respite of the Boston Strangler murders.
Well, it takes a lot of energy to strangle people.
I guess so, and stalk them, and build up some fake identity that they're in order to get in the place.
Yeah.
It's a hard job. It's tough working if you can get it.
Yeah.
Before long, in early 1963, the tracks started up again. So, in March 6th, 1963, we find number 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mary Brown, 69-year-old, who was found at 319 Park Street in Lawrence, Mass. So we went from kind of like the Dorchester area. Now we're going up to Lawrence, which is like 25 miles north of the city, basically, in order to murder someone else. It doesn't make any sense.
This is quite a tour of the city.
Yeah. Well, this is the tour they don't do. This is like, Paul Revere's tour or something.
Yeah.
The Revolutionary War. Year-old Mary Brown had been stabbed multiple times but died of strangulation. Not much else is really known about her, but...
That's brutal. To stab her and then to strangle her?
Yeah. Well, it showed that he was going down in age, and then he's ticking back up again with her.
Yeah, because we have 55 years old, 85, 65, 68, 75, 67. Then he goes to 20, 23. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, maybe he didn't hate older women as much as he knew that they were going to be physically weaker and he could outman them or outpower them.
Yeah.
And then to switch everything up, he's like, okay, I think I'm ready for younger people now.
Yeah.
But then he goes back to Mary Brown. Maybe Patricia put up a little bit of a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 2 months later, he goes back young again. He finds the 10th victim, Beverly Salmons, was found.
Don't they always go young eventually?
Yeah, fucking men. The 23-year-old graduate had missed choir practice on the day of her murder. She was found with her hands tied behind her back with one of her scarves. A nylon stocking and 2 handkerchiefs were tied around her neck. Bizarrely, a piece of cloth over her mouth hid a second piece of cloth that had been stuffed in her mouth. So I think he usually stuffs things in their mouths in order to shut them up, and then after he kills them, he puts another one in their mouth sometimes.
Was it a weird prank? Like he's a magician?
Yeah, he's like Johnny Knoxville or something.
Like they keep pulling off scarves?
Yeah.
All right, come on.
Yeah, it's like a Russian doll. 4 stab wounds to her neck had most likely killed her rather than strangulation. So it's either the stab or the strangle here with this guy.
He's kind of sounding like the Boston Stabber right
Yeah,
now.
I know. It doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely, I guess. There were a further 22 stab wounds to Salmon's body, 18 in the shape of a bullseye on her right breast. So he's like stabbing below her breast and stuff. She had been raped, but there was no evidence of semen. You know, take with that what you will.
Yeah.
Very dark.
I don't want to take anything.
He's
from
getting more kind of messed up. I think he's just having, more fun, as Morgan Freeman would say in one of those thrillers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is grotesque. What he's doing. This is like he's
beyond
stabbing and strangling and tying and.
The police at this point are so desperate that they even sought the help of a clairvoyant.
Oh, that's a great
I know,
idea.
this is how desperate they're getting.
Hey, Sylvia Brown, what do you think? I think these women drowned.
In the Twin Towers?
Why is Harvey Firestein the clairvoyant? Or Tom Waits?
Evil Tom Waits.
Evil Tom. So the clairvoyant described the killer as a mental patient who had absconded from Boston State Hospital on the days of the killings.
That's an easy guess.
Easy guess. Yeah. However, this was soon discounted when another murder was committed. This leads to victims 11, 12, and our final one, 13. September 8th, 1963, in Salem, Evelyn Corbin, youthful-looking 58-year-old divorcee, became the latest victim. Corbin was found nude and on her bed, face up. Her underwear had been stuffed in her mouth, which is usually the signature for this scumbag. And again, there were traces of semen this time, both on lipstick stains and in her mouth. Corbin's apartment had been ransacked in similar fashion. On November 25th, Joanne Groff, a 23-year-old industrial designer, was raped and killed in her apartment in the Lawrence section of the city. Several descriptions on her attacker matched those of the man who had asked to paint Clark's neighbor's flat. If you remember, Clark had been murdered, but the neighbor was the initial target, it feels like, because whoever the Boston Strangler was at this time, he had went to the neighbor's house first, but he went to the other house because that woman said her husband was asleep next door.
Yeah.
The description detailed a man wearing dark green slacks, dark shirt, and jacket. On January 4th, 1964, one of the most gruesome murders was discovered when 2 women came across the body of their roommate. Mary Sullivan, the last victim, was found dead sitting on her bed, her back against the headboard. The 19-year-old had been strangled with a dark stocking. She had been sexually assaulted with a broom handle. The obscenity was rendered even more disturbing by the fact that a Happy New Year card lay wedged between her feet. The same hallmarks of the killer were evident: a ransacked apartment, few valuables taken, and the victim strangled with her own underwear or scarves, which were tied into bows.
What's his obsession with bows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Getting annoyed at this guy.
I don't know what that is at any point. Like, we didn't get a clear confession, which I'll go into later. So after the 13th killing, the Boston is going nuts. The entire, state of Massachusetts is going insane.
Yeah.
Massachusetts Attorney General Edward Brooke took control of the investigation. a few days later, after the last victim, launching a major task force commonly referred to as the Strangler Bureau. So he started his own department within the bureau called the Strangler Bureau.
Dick Wolf is like, I like the ring of that.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. He promised to centralize competing investigations in different municipalities and dedicate new resources to capturing this phantom killer.
Yeah.
He tries to put a profile on the killer. So they try again to profile the killer, but none of that works. Eventually, they start looking around, and they hear the story of this guy, Albert DeSalvo. Who is Albert DeSalvo? Convicted criminal Albert DeSalvo was in and out of trouble with the police from an early age, but nothing as gruesome as the Boston Strangler case. So they went to Cambridge police. So this guy, Albert, was from Cambridge. And they go, we hear about this guy, this case. He's known to break into women's homes and stuff, sexually assault them. And, he's known for doing a string of these. And, kind of sweet talk his way into it.
Wow.
And he's like, wait a second. This sounds exactly, but he has not been known to be a murderer yet. They called him the measuring man because he would come into women's homes, knock on their door and say, I'm with a modeling agency. I want to get your measurements for my company.
Wow.
Is that okay? And a lot of the women would say yes.
Ooh.
And they would go along with it. He had a couple of grifts like that. Let me go into a little more background.
That's an insane grift.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have your own, set up your own, photo studio and whatever. And be like, we got to take your measurements to send the photos out. This guy's going door to door, being like, let me measure your tits.
Yeah, more or less.
And then they say yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. You think I'm a model?
Yeah. He would offer $40 for their time, never pay them, and he would have no connection to any modeling agency at all.
Wow.
He was some scumbag who worked for a rubber factory in Boston.
Rubber factory.
Hey, this guy didn't even use rubbers.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Okay.
So I don't think it's him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got no semen.
They probably answered the door going, at least it's not a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
He actually got busted for doing this. He was also a weird peeping Tom. He was just an overall creep. But the Cambridge police has said, no, he's just a creep. Trust me, he's not your murderer. So
Just a creep.
just a creep. Yeah.
Is that all?
That's all.
I'm only a creep.
I ain't no killer. I'm just a creep.
Yeah.
I want to say in 1961, he gets busted, and they sent him to the Bridgewater State Mental Facility for the measuring man crimes. He gets 18 months only. And one of these is for a rape, too.
Oh, wow.
And the judge feels bad for him because he's the main breadwinner in his family. So he only gets 18 months. He's released in April 1962, 2 months before the first Boston Strangler victim was found.
Whoa.
That reminds me on the previous Spooktacular when we were covering Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Remember the judge was lenient in the late 80s
Yeah.
when he first encountered Dahmer in the courtroom.
That's true.
You seem like a good kid. I'm going to go easy on you so that you can reform.
Yeah. Exactly.
He reformed, all right.
Yeah.
He reformed people's heads into lamps.
He was forming something. During all these Boston Strangler cases, Albert was living at 11 Florence Street in Malden, Massachusetts, which, if you don't know that, Malden is kind of very central to all, that entire map I showed.
That's what I was going to ask.
Right the dot in the middle of all of them.
So that's why he was able to go all around.
I think that's, they say don't shit where you eat. So maybe that's, he wasn't doing them in Malden, you'd notice. But Malden did have good, good routes to all those locations. It was very central.
Was that in the apartment listing? very centralized location. If you're a serial killer,
Yeah.
you can get from South E to
Yeah,
Lawrence
major highways, Route 93, you name it. You know, you can get, if you
in a
want
jiffy.
if you want to kill someone in Charlestown and get down to Southie 2 seconds later, this is the place for you, buddy.
93, 95, 495, you get it all.
And then you can,
Come on down.
and you can still make it right on time for the symphony.
Yeah, and then you catch a Patriots game. Touchdown. So he gets out of prison after doing this stint in the Bridgewater State Mental Facility. I feel like that's still what Bridgewater State College is. Basically, it's the same mental facility. It's a state college that people go to.
Okay.
So he gets out of prison and starts working back at the rubber factory. He was a natural suspect for the Boston Strangler because of his role in breaking into women's homes and sexually assaulting them. I don't like. It seems pretty slam dunk, but it seemed like that was in Cambridge. I think what their rationale was, but that was Cambridge. That's far away. Like, no, it's not that far away.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like right over the Charles River.
Right.
Yeah.
And they always have jobs like that. The rubber factory, the
Yeah.
chocolate factory.
Yeah.
The Necco Wafer Factory.
Yeah.
There really is one.
Yeah, there is one in Chelsea. Yeah. Or it's like a slaughterhouse or something.
Yeah.
They always work some weird manual labor job, but they could probably get paid very well at. A major development in the case comes on October 27, 1964, when DeSalvo, later described by the Boston Herald as a erstwhile handyman, conned his way into a woman's home by posing as a police detective in East Cambridge. DeSalvo raped the woman, apologized to her, and then left.
Oh, I'm really sorry about that.
Like, what is wrong with this guy?
Sorry, I can't clean up.
I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive.
Oh my God. He's fresh out of like Bridgewater State Mental Facility, and he's right off the bat just doing more crimes and shit.
He's brazen.
Yeah.
He's arrogant. He doesn't think he's going to get caught.
But not only that, but he had just been doing the Boston Strangler murders like a couple months before this.
He's multitasking.
Oh God. She reports him right away to the police, who picked him out from a lineup based on her description. When DeSalvo's photograph appears in the newspaper, other women came forward to say he'd attacked them too. He went on to say that he attacked somewhere around 300 women in a 4-state area. Later on, he would say that when he got arrested.
Wow.
That's the same number of Spartans in the movie 300.
On this same day of October 20, this guy doesn't stop. On that same day, October 27, 1964, he posed as a motorist with car trouble and attempted to enter a home in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. The owner of the home was a future Brockton police chief, Richard Sprules, who became suspicious and ultimately fired a shotgun at DeSalvo.
Oh, wow.
So DeSalvo's like, Bridgewater is like an hour away.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is like, how is he working at the rubber factory and doing all this shit too?
Was he wearing a long rubber nose
Yeah.
when he tried to break in?
What, like Bradley Cooper?
Or like Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yes.
That's why the guy's like, get the fuck out of here. I know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Listen, pal, today we play by Sprule's Rule.
Yeah.
You fuck with Spool, become a ghoul.
DeSalvo was like, I didn't want to fuck with Sproul. I didn't know this out.
I didn't know there were rules.
I didn't know there were any rules. I didn't even know Sproul even lived here. So after this, they catch DeSalvo, and he admits to everything. He also admits to being the Green Man rapist, which was a string of sex crimes that occurred in the Connecticut area. So he's the Green Man down in Connecticut. He's the Measuring Man up in Cambridge, and he's the Boston Strangler in Boston.
Jeez.
Like,
Wow.
This guy wears a lot of hats.
And he's the Muffin Man in Delaware.
Yeah.
The Green Man. What was he wore like a green?
Well, because he wore green work pants all the time, like to the rubber factory, and also on one of those previous things, like someone saw someone in green pants there also. He just wear green pants. Was he like a UPS guy or something?
He looks like an extra on a George Lucas production.
Yes. He admitted to breaking into 400 apartments and a couple of rapes. So he's
Just a couple.
Yeah, when he's not just breaking into homes, he's not every house. I guess he rapes someone. I think he
Clearly 400 apartments.
Yeah,
That's a lot of, false leads.
And as I said, he had assaulted 300 women in a 4-state area.
This guy is what they call a menace to society.
Exactly. So they think he's just like bragging at some point, and like he's known as like a bragger, like kind of like who brags about this.
Oh, I see. Like
so they don't know what to believe
like
with
a
this
clout
guy.
chaser.
Yeah, and he might not be a reliable person who said all these things happened.
Such as when Woody Harrelson's dad was bragging about killing Kennedy.
Exactly. Yeah, he could be coked up also, like Woody Harrelson's dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'd tell cops like, if you knew the whole story, you wouldn't believe it. They're like, all right, well, so what's the whole story? Like, and then I think he's just a liar, but he does do a lot of shit also. So it's hard to deal with this guy. In 1965, while in police custody of Bridgewater State, on trial for the Green Man rapes, DeSalvo confessed to being the Boston Strangler and committing all 13 murders. But he makes a deal with his brand new attorney, F. Lee Bailey.
Whoa.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So
He was around back then?
yeah. He also represented Dr. Shepard from the what fucking what am I thinking of? Harrison Ford movie.
The Fugitive.
The Fugitive. Yeah.
The real life fugitive.
The real life fugitive. Yeah. He got him off. The original lawyer.
Well, how'd he do with it in the trial?
Yeah. Speaking of steaming. So this is how it went.
Oh, he was guilty.
This is the crazy story. This is how it went down. So our guy, DeSalvo, goes to Bridgewater State Hospital. Down there, he meets another murderer, this guy named George Nasser. George Nasser, his lawyer is F. Lee Bailey, and Nasser tells F. Lee Bailey about this whole story. And then they come up with a deal like F. Lee Bailey tells Nasser, like, hey, if you talk this guy into confessing to all these murders he probably did anyway, say we can get him money for the reward, which is $10,000 per victim, which comes out to like $100,000, and tell him I'll get him a major book deal. And F. Lee Bailey, he got him signed. And then DeSalvo's like, yeah, sure, you're my new lawyer. And F. Lee Bailey brokered this deal with the Boston Police Department and maybe the Attorney General too, or whatever, that DeSalvo would confess to all the murders, but they wouldn't be able to convict him for them. He would just go to jail for the Green Man rapes and not any of the 13 murders that the Boston Strangler did.
Wow.
Interesting.
So what they want to do there is, if you're the Boston Police Department, you want to create a sense of calm knowing that you got the person.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the details that DeSalvo was giving was a little murky. It wasn't 100% accurate.
So this is like the final season of The Wire, where all the crimes that are happening in the hood, they blame it on one serial killer, so they can wrap the case up in a tiny, like a bow. Yeah, a bow. It all comes back to the bow.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's it because, since, if you remember, these two dogged journalists were giving these very gritty details of all the murders, that was being relayed, I think, to F. Lee Bailey, then to George Nasser, and then to DeSalvo, who was trying to remember all of these details that he was being fed. In the movie Boston Strangler, which I'm basing this off of, which was with Keira Knightley, they seem to think that George Nasser might have been one of the killers. Because when they did a lineup in which they put George Nasser and DeSalvo in the same lineup, and one of the women that saw what became one of the Boston Strangler perpetrators they pointed out George Nasser. They did not point out DeSalvo. So they're wondering if these two guys met, they realized that they were doing the same bow murders.
Wait a minute, though. Wouldn't one of them have been inspired by the other?
I think they were inspired by the news articles that were coming out as a result.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So because that's what everyone was talking about.
But one of them started it then.
One of them started it. Yeah. And I think that was DeSalvo. I'll just say it now that in retrospect, DeSalvo never convicted, but in 2021, they exhumed his body. They dug him up. Because
just to beat him with a
stick.
Just
to beat him up, yeah. No, his brothers wanted this.
Wow.
And in 2001, his brothers wanted him exhumed, and they wanted to, because now DNA testing becomes a little more better.
Sure.
It's not 100%, but
a lot of more better.
In 2001, but not perfected. So they dig him up in 2001. They're not able to confirm that the semen they found on the scene was actually his. So they still have the sample. I know. Who had?
You imagine
who's gonna
digging
do
him
that?
up and then you're looking for ancient semen?
Yeah. In the police department, all the cops put their fingers on their nose. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Anna Nicole Smith is like, I will.
They just find green shorts and
Yeah.
rubbers from the factory.
Yeah. That's all in the casket.
Yeah.
Just all pushed in there.
Yeah. A paint can.
Yeah. So that is inconclusive when they dig him up then. They dig him up again in 2013. And at that time, that's when they were able to conclusively say that he was at least Mary Mullen's killer. At least the last one. That's the only one they can 100% confirm.
Wow.
And tie him to.
But it's pretty
No
obvious.
pun intended on the tie.
But it's pretty obvious he did the other murders, probably.
Yeah. Like, I can't see really who else it could have been. At least a lot of them. But all 13, I don't know. But why would he just decide to stop killing?
Yeah, the last murder was January 4th, 1964.
Well, they arrested him in October 27, 1964.
Oh, okay.
So that's not that much time.
So,
No.
but he was in for one of those the Green Man or rapes.
Yeah, the Blue Man.
When
rapes.
he jumped in her house, raped her, and said sorry and left. So that one, he was still in custody for that. So he never got out of custody ever again. Like, he never posted bail or anything.
Yeah.
So he was in prison for the rest of his life until he died at the age of 42. And what happened was he had reversed his confession and said he didn't really do it. F. Lee Bailey pushed him into it by saying he was going to get all these book deals and all this stuff that didn't really pan out because he wanted to take care of his wife and his family. He had a disabled daughter who was like really struggling, and I think he wanted his family financially taken care of. So he confesses, but then he reverses it when he's 42 years old. The DA is going to come and talk to him 2 days before that. He's stabbed to death in Walpole Correctional Facility. Eventually, DeSalvo got no money, nor any of his family.
Good.
Book deal, reward, or anything. Neither did Nassar. They all thought they were going to get these big paydays.
So Bailey tricked them.
Yeah. Yeah, in 2013, Massachusetts Attorney General Martha Coakley said the result leaves no doubt that Albert DeSalvo was responsible for the brutal murder of Mary Sullivan. I'm sorry, Mary Sullivan was the one.
Oh, okay.
That he was.
Yeah, that's the 19-year-old.
That's the 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, I was right. All right.
Yep.
I said Mary Mullen before, but Mary Sullivan was the last one.
Mhm.
There was a Mary Mullen also. And that he was most likely the Boston Strangler. But that leaves some vagueness at the end. Most likely the Boston Strangler.
Well, he definitely did one that fit the description of, the other murders, so it only...
It's very likely.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Well, this leads me to my possible family connection here.
Oh, boy.
Get your popcorn out.
First family connection to a story, not the last.
Well,
No.
I talked to my mom about this today.
Oh, shit.
And I had a family member. I can't explain exactly who, but just obviously an older relative of mine who was a telephone man at this time in the Charlestown area, and that's where he lived. He lived off of Bunker Hill Lane there. He measured apartments also, and he was...
But not women.
He would always brag about how, all the beauties apartments he was always measuring up in downtown Boston and around the city and stuff, and all these college gals he would be measuring apartments for in order to install telephone wires for their places. And I don't know, he looked very similar to DeSalvo also. This man died in 1977, so he's not around to listen and be like, "What the fuck?" But it was I had various relatives that were almost adamant that he could have been one of the copycats.
Wow.
So there could have been 3.
And almost adamant, in my family's term, which is basically 20% chance.
Yeah. So when this all was happening, your family thought like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, well,
This guy's probably doing
my
it.
mom was really young, but my grandmother knew this person firsthand, and I lived with her for a while when I was younger, and she said, that she very much believed that this person was one of the copycat killers.
Whoa.
And he was estranged from the family?
No, not really.
So, wait, he would go to barbecues?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they would
there's
make
my murderer fucking family member.
Well, it was another side of the family that really wasn't our immediate side of the family.
Yeah.
So it was like her brother-in-law kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But still, wow. That's quite a thought to have about your family member.
Wait, so was he ever arrested for anything? Or that your family were just like...
Nothing related to this.
He's just a fucking pervert.
Yeah.
Nothing related to this. What was he arrested for?
I don't know. I think just drunken, disorderly stuff, probably in like downtown Boston, like at a bar or something.
That's normal.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Youthful or 40-year-old indiscretion.
Yeah.
He's just a normal, creepy guy creeping on college gals.
Which was kind of what DeSalvo was too, until he wasn't a not normal, creepy guy.
Yeah, it's just...
His wife said he was a sex fiend maniac and all this stuff.
Wait, what about this wife?
His wife was... It's weird. DeSalvo's wife was a German national. He met her while in World War II, and he brought her over. And yeah,
Maybe she knew Hitler.
she could have known Hitler. Yeah, she's like, Hitler was a better guy.
Yeah.
Come to learn torture techniques?
Yeah. She said she was shocked when she heard that her husband was a murderer. I'm like, are you really?
Look where you're from.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You're not a good judge of character. Yeah.
He's
She's at the Nuremberg trials. I never saw any problem with any of these people. Really.
he's only the second worst experience in your life.
I used to fuck the Goebbels. He's a good guy. I love the Goebbels. She Seinfeld all of a sudden.
Lowry! I love the girls!
I love the Goebbels. I love the Eichmann. He's my man, the Eichmann.
It was my decision to leave.
Yeah, World War II. Berlin.
Okay, so your family member possibly could have been the third strangler.
The third wheel on the tricycle of death.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a tricycle that is.
So yeah, Green Man rapist.
Donated to Goodwill, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Measuring Man and the Boston Strangler, which I don't know. All these things are just titles to like, a grand or,
To sell papers.
Sensationalize and sell papers. And, it's, I don't know. It's a very strange time in Boston history because we've never seen it since, really.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing to happen because it was a relatively quiet town up until then. And
just a quiet town.
And just like bank robbers coming from Charlestown, which was normal. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But actual murders that just wasn't it clear that they were just like robbing the place. They clearly just wanted to make these women feel scared and nervous and to brutalize just women. It's just a monster of a person, whoever it was or whoever people they were.
Heinous and cowardly.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was a push to suppress any murders that fit that description between like 73 and 77. Like after he died, to be like the guy, we definitely got the guy. He's dead now. Like, don't worry about it. Like if there was another set of killings that the police were just like, let's not tell him that the place was ransacked.
The detective sees the nylon.
Yeah,
stuffs it in his mouth. What nylon? It was a heart attack. Yeah. You pass the ketchup?
Want to hit the bar? I'm buying first round.
He licks the semen off the floor.
Oh, God.
Not that cop again.
But F. Lee Bailey described in his book how he said he was scared of this guy.
Then why is he offering him book deals?
His muscles were so big, but it was kind of like he was into the guy. He's like, his muscles were bulging. And he looked very muscular and angry, and I was very fearful of this man. I'm like, I feel like you're kind of turned on by this guy.
So he was clearly pulling a Capote then.
Capote.
Yeah.
Remember In Cold Blood?
Yes.
He wanted to have sex with that guy?
Yeah. Maybe that's what is going on with F. Lee Bailey. Maybe that's what he wanted from OJ too. I don't know.
We don't want to start any rumors.
No rumors here.
He looked like he was going to push all the books off the desk and have his way with me.
They were thrown over there, and they were thrown over there. One more thing I wanted to say about this is, I guess the level of detail that F. Lee Bailey allegedly got from DeSalvo is also something that he talks about in his book that he wrote in like the 1970s about him. And it's usually in this case, the most logical reasoning is that it was DeSalvo. But I think it's very, very possible in my mind that, copycat killers could have been involved.
Yeah.
Maybe someone I'm related to. I don't know.
And thankfully, they're all dead now.
And this is related by marriage, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
By marriage.
Yeah.
It's not in your blood.
Not in my blood.
Okay.
Blood.
So that's it. That is my version of the Boston Strangler. The movie, The Boston Strangler, Keira Knightley. It's on Hulu in 2023. It's all right. It's it does kind of track a lot of what I just described here, but Keira Knightley is the star.
Yes.
I have a palate cleanser here.
Yes.
I want to debut a new character.
Okay.
We were just talking about Jerry Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a new character called Scary Seinfeld.
Oh.
I like it already.
Let's hear it.
And I have a couple of geeners about the Boston Strangler.
Let's do it. Let's go.
When I met the Boston Strangler, I got all choked up. What's the Boston Strangler's favorite drink?
What?
Coca-Cola.
Nice.
How do you tell a stranger from a strangler?
What's that?
I don't know, but there's an L of a difference.
Oh, my God.
It's had a hell of a difference.
I'm here all night. I'd like to thank the Academy.
Ooh. Now do the Michael Richards version.
It's not funny. Stop laughing.
Stop laughing.
His Letterman.
Stop laughing.
Stop laughing. It's not funny.
Said some pretty nasty things to some Afro-Americans. A lot of trash talk. And
Stop laughing. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
Not funny. Come on, Dave. Help me out.
Oh, boy.
And actually, you should play this. Lenny Clark had a funny little bit on this.
Boston comedian Lenny Clark.
Yes, legend.
Get the wrong idea of Boston. When I'm on the road, they go, we love that show, Cheers, and we really think St. Elsewhere is great. Is Boston like that? And I go, not at all. Did you see the Boston Strangler? That's Boston.
Yep. See the Boston Strangler?
All right.
That's great.
All right, well, we covered it.
We did.
it. Yep.
And now
We go from downtown Boston to Quincy, Massachusetts.
Oh, my God.
We're going down Route 93 south, and we're hitting Quincy, Mass. This is the first town outside of Boston. So if you're going, it's like Boston, South Boston, Dorchester, then you got Quincy right there.
Yeah.
So that's the last town on the left.
Yes. Well, first town on the left almost.
Whatever.
Let's make it more confusing.
Yeah. He could have just let it slide.
It's also the town in which Dunkin' Donuts had their first location.
Dunkin' Donuts was created in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Time
So
to
they're
make the donuts.
They're responsible for that. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a lot.
Great.
You'd think there'd be more down there. There's only a couple, actually.
Yeah.
The original one.
It spawned it.
Yeah, it's filled with like homeless people and there's fires.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
People doing junk in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. There are needles falling on the floor over there all the time.
I know.
And it's not just to inject with the jelly donuts.
There's a baby being born in the fucking back of it.
And let's just say that's not powdered sugar you're looking at.
And it's on the menu. I'll tell you that much.
Every hour, there's a baby born in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
And conceive.
Only you can save this future
Give
dirtbag.
5 donut holes to to this foundation, and I'll eat them.
There's just semen and custard all over the parking lot.
Is there semen in this one too?
Oh, no.
In fact, there is.
There's a through line of semen in this podcast.
There sure is.
There's a vein of semen just
Yeah.
pulsating.
So yeah, the Craigslist Killer. The story of the Craigslist Killer is pretty fucking insane. Finding out who it was, what type of person he was, and like, it's just, this is one of the people where I think no one ever expected it to be this person. This man, Philip Markoff, was living a double life. He grew up in New York State. So he was up there frolicking around.
Oh, yeah. He's up a Brandywine, whatever area. He's that weird area, probably.
He was
near, like, Western Mass.
Yeah. Well, he was, like, a little bit further down, like, outside of Albany. He ended up going to SUNY Albany.
So he thinks he's better than you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Better than me?
And, you know, he had upper middle class. His dad was a dentist, so he had money coming in. It's not like he's one of these people that's just like, oh, I was forced into the gutter, and then I grew up to kill people because I was mad at the world. It's like, no, he had a pretty cushy life.
Dinner was nails
Yeah.
every night.
His friends said, you know, he was serious, well-behaved, active in extracurricular activities.
So like an outgoing guy for the most part. He did not someone you'd suspect, hey, this guy's going to be a Boston area killer someday.
Yeah.
All American.
Yeah.
Yes.
All That's Interesting has this whole write-up on him that I'm going to quote from. They said, in his early life, Philip Markoff was described as the nicest young man, polite, respectful, with a good sense of humor. He had a solid family with 2 parents, though divorced, both had remarried, and he had a brother. Neighbors said that the family was pretty quiet. They kept to themselves, but they were never any bother, and they weren't rude.
At least that's the bare minimum, you know?
Yeah.
They're just not assholes.
Yeah.
Oh, man, great.
What do you think about them? They're not dicks.
Yeah, they're not dicks.
Someone said that about me. Say what you want about Alejandro. He's not rude.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you get with people like in areas like that. You know, they're just they're not great in social scenarios, but they're not awful also.
Yeah.
You know, they're just, you know, they're very standoffish because they're not used to seeing a lot of people all the time. I feel like I grew up around a lot of people, and it made me heavily annoyed, but also maybe a little bit better around bigger groups sometimes.
Yeah. Teachers said that even though Markoff wasn't the most popular student, he was academically brilliant. So maybe that's where some of his anger comes from, because shy guys end up usually being the nice guys and being rejected by women. And those type of guys might be a little angrier when they grow up.
But also guys who think they're sharper than they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes, like, you know, like the killer, that weird guy.
Brian Koberg. Yeah,
he was not as smart or accomplished as he thought he should be.
Yeah.
He looked like he thought he was someone that was smarter.
That's the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? When
really?
Really smart people think that they're dumb, and really dumb people think that they're brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's like human society. That's American society.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's everyone. All the dumbest people think they should be heard by everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's mainly dumb people thinking they're brilliant.
Yeah.
More of those guys.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
So he ends up going to State University of New York at Albany, SUNY Albany, and he is pursuing a career as a doctor. So he's going to medical school.
Good career?
Yeah. You know, setting himself up for a good life.
I don't know about medical schools, about SUNY, about their system, but it's a good, you know, college system as far as I know.
Absolutely, yeah. So he was going to school there, trying to become a doctor, and that's where he met his future fiancée, Megan McAllister.
No relation to Kevin McAllister.
Or Meghan McCain. Or Meghan Markle.
Or Megan is missing.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Or Megan the robot Megan.
Yes. Where the E is stylized.
Yeah.
They were both volunteering at a medical center near campus, and McAllister was actually a few years older than him. She asked him out on a date.
Cougar.
Which usually has to happen
I don't know if it's a cougar for a couple of years. The same college. Yeah.
Right.
Desperate Housewives. Welcome to Cougar Town.
May I take your order?
yeah, that's his response to getting asked out. He's like Robin Williams going off on a red. Ooh, Cougar Town.
Yeah, so she asked him out. Very strong move. They date for 3 years, and then he proposed to her on the beach. The couple planned to become married August 14th, 2009.
Right near the beach.
Yeah. So Philip is like, anyone who's looking from the outside is like, holy shit, this guy's got it made. He's going to be a doctor. He's got this hot medical student bride-to-be.
He's on a gravy train with biscuit wheels.
Yeah. And...
He's got this hot older chick doctor woman.
Yeah. Half in the grave.
He's got
She's
this
2 years older.
Golden girl fucking wife.
He's fucking Betty White.
Yeah.
The world is his oyster.
There were signs of trouble, though. He was $130,000 in debt from student loans and also had a penchant for gambling. It's reported.
That doesn't help.
Yeah, no.
That's a good combo, I heard.
Yeah.
Large debt and gambling habit.
Well, you can actually you can use some student debt towards some bad. Like sometimes they don't. The money doesn't have to go straight to the school. It can go to you for some expenses, and they don't mind how much you take out because they think you're going to be a doctor, so they'll give you whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
The problem is you got to pay it back.
Yeah.
And you got to become a doctor.
Yes, and if you don't, that really doesn't work out.
No.
So with this whole being in trouble with debt and gambling stuff, that's what people assume started this whole spree. It was almost a year before a spree of robberies that targeted women would leave one dead. Markoff had begun to reach out to people on Craigslist. These messages revealed a different side of Markoff and not the mild-mannered medical student, but instead he seemed what he really was, an individual thirsty for outside sexual encounters.
Man, he was a sick puppy. He's kind of like, the Boston Strangler, kind of like DeSalvo more because he was more into, as far as we know him, to be a sexual deviant.
Yeah, but I mean, going on Craigslist, sure, you think everything's untraceable, but eventually they'll be able to find you.
Mm-hmm.
Craigslist is actually a pretty complicated website that has good, they have a lot of good people behind it. It's never been touched in the 30 years it's been in working.
Yeah, it looks the same.
But it's like $1 billion organization.
That's
people
crazy.
don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's complicated. It looks pretty simple to me.
Yeah.
I know, but behind the scenes, they have a lot of people that are confirming the real data behind all this stuff in Wikipedia.
Yeah. They say in May of 2008, Markoff exchanged several messages with someone who was back then labeled as, quote, a transvestite in the Boston area.
No judgment.
Hey, sexy, Markoff wrote on May 2nd using the email address sexaddict5385@yahoo.com.
I want to know Sex Addict 5384. They almost got arrested for this crime.
You think of how many people had that email handle that they have to add all these numbers to
8,000 is crazy.
Yeah.
Like sexual deviant.
Yeah.
And that's just on
is already taken.
6969 420 420 187.
And that's just on yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on AOL.
Yeah. Subsequent messages included explicit photos of this transvestite in the Boston area. They had never met, but Markoff reached out again in January 2009, this time with a different username. Once again, their exchange didn't result in a meeting. It was later reported that Markoff had sent messages and photos to multiple men who posted ads on Craigslist labeled M4T, which is men looking for transvestites. Or trans was probably more.
The lingo wasn't all there back then.
Yeah.
Way back in the day of 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Well, it is kind of a different world.
It is.
He even once posted as a female ebony masseuse looking to service male clients.
So he's into guys?
Yeah.
But is he?
What gave it away?
Yeah.
But does he also just mixing with people, and he's like role playing for himself, like pretending to be all these other things.
Yeah.
I was just confused because he had that fiance.
Imagine the fiance just goes to check his email and she sees he's pretending to be an ebony masseuse. Like, what
Do
is
we
going
need
on?
to talk?
Yeah.
No, things are fine.
Yeah, everything's great.
I'm just pretending to be a black woman trying to suck guys' cocks.
It's like, what's with this fake email? Well, all the other ones were taken for that, so that's why I'm that number. That's why I had to add the numbers at the end.
Yeah,
He's like, wait a second.
5.
No, but that's not what my question starts.
I don't want you to think I'm weird. They forced me to add all those numbers to it.
Yeah. On April 13th, 2009, Markoff responded to an ad on Craigslist under the erotic services section. The category would later be changed to adult services in the wake of the Craigslist killer's murder.
Oh, so he changed history.
Yeah, he's the reason they had one update to Craigslist. We went from erotic services to adult services.
Yeah, some big old guy gets off a couch like, I gotta do something.
Yeah. And
we actually have to code this year.
This isn't in here, but it was in the 2020 that I watched. They said as soon as Craigslist changed everything from erotic services to adult services, it skyrocketed that category on the website, and it became the most biggest moneymaker they ever had.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, this says in 2010, Craigslist removed adult services from the platform altogether.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think they had a misconnections portion too that they took off also.
Oh yeah,
those are so sad.
Those are hilarious.
I saw you on the train a month ago. You may not remember me. Yeah. I was the short guy in a gray T-shirt, and then it goes on and on.
Yeah.
It's like, of course this woman doesn't remember you.
Yeah. You were puking into a Sbarro cup.
Yeah.
Our eyes matched for but a second.
Yeah.
Were you feeling it like me? And what are the odds that someone reading that would be the one that they're seeking?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that is me. I was puking into a Sbarro cup.
And I am a loser reading this next connection.
Kismet, yeah.
Seeing if anybody recognizes me.
They got one hand on the Sbarro cup they're still puking into, one on the computer mouse. Holy shit!
That's me!
I got the same cup!
They plan a couple's suicide together.
We should spend the rest of our lives together till tomorrow.
Yeah. Couples retreat just to jump off the bridge. Yeah.
We're going to go to Sbarro. Yeah, then we're going to jump off the bridge.
Yeah, you need another fresh cup to puke into.
Yeah. So Jalissa Brisman was a masseuse and aspiring model. She had posted an ad. Her and Markoff exchanged a brief correspondence under fake names, and they agreed to meet on April 14th, exactly 4 months before Philip Markoff and Megan McAllister planned to get married.
Okay.
Shortly into their meeting, Markoff attacked Brisman. It appeared to be a robbery gone wrong, which sounds like that's what they said about the Boston Strangler,
Strangler also, yeah.
Markoff tried to restrain Brisman and then bludgeoned her with his pistol. Almost a foot shorter than him, Brisman struggled, but to no avail. Philip Markoff shot her 3 times at close range, then fled the scene. Brisman initially survived the attack, but later died at the Boston Medical Center, which was the same institution where Markoff was studying to become a doctor.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And he was still studying during all this?
Oh, yeah. Markoff orchestrated 2 other violent attacks through Craigslist that bookended the murder of Brisman. So he did one before and one after.
Man. Well, yeah, I think he's just a guy that he had this psychosis inside of him, but he just kind of ignored it and just went with the flow and just thought his life would just turn out fine if he just did a couple of them. Maybe it's like, oh, this is the last one. You know, I have some insatiable thing that makes me want to do this, but this is the last one. Then I'll go back to the wife and everything will be fine and I'll become a doctor.
Like any addiction.
Yeah.
I'm just going through the Taco Bell drive-thru one more time.
Yeah.
to kill someone.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm quitting cold turkey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. On April 10th, 2009, 4 days before the Craigslist killer met with Jalissa Brisman, Markoff responded to another Craigslist ad posted by Tricia Leffler. Like Brisman, Leffler was a masseuse who advertised her services on Craigslist. Leffler later told CBS News that they arranged to meet up that night. As they arrived to her hotel room, Markoff pulled a gun, tied Leffler up, and robbed her.
So he was actually robbing as well.
Yeah, so I think that's where it all started. Like, it was going. Obviously, he was getting a rush from it, but he wanted to make sure, A, he would be able to, be stronger than them. So he was going after women, and B, he's going after girls who are in the sex industry. So they're less likely to go to the police about anything that happens. So he knew they had money. He knew that he could wrestle them to the ground if need be, and then he knew that likely either if something happened to them, they're not going to report it to the police, or if they get killed, they're not going to be as missed, or it's not going to be as pursued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is, very common in these types of crimes.
Yeah.
After robbing Leffler, he met up with Cynthia Melton. She's the one who would use Craigslist to advertise lap dances. And like the other two, Markoff replied to one of her ads, and they had met 2 days after he killed Brisman. And just like Leffler, Markoff pulled out his gun, tied her up, and asked where she kept her cash and credit cards. He even said to her, "Don't worry, I'm not going to kill you. Just give me the money."
So he is trying to service his debt.
Yes. That's what I think is really what it's all about.
Main thing.
This is the only way. Like this sharp guy who's, got himself into medical school. This is the only way he could figure out how to make money is to rob these sex workers. It's
Just
crazy.
ask your rich dentist dad.
Yeah.
Like, what are you fucking doing?
There are so many better ways to deal with this scenario than the way he's doing it. You can ask, you can ask people legitimately because you're like gonna become a doctor. So,
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're so close to not even having to worry about money.
And he's from a well-to-do family.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder,
he's a McAllister. Or no, she is.
but he can't.
She is, yeah.
That didn't work then.
You're a McAllister, damn it.
He's marrying into the McAllisters.
There you go.
But maybe he's just like he just didn't want anyone to know he had this thing going on, and like that was.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. How much is it about the money that's helping him? But when he was into the other stuff too, like, what was it, M for T? That was a sexual thing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's how we found this kind of idea to rob sex workers.
There's a lot of things going on with this guy.
Yeah.
So he has this woman, Cynthia Melton, tied up. He's telling her, "I'm not going to kill you. Just tell me where all your money is, and you're going to be fine." As he's doing that, and he's going through her purse and everything, Cynthia's husband keys into the room and breaks up the attack, and he flees.
Oh,
so
man.
he almost got the shit kicked out of him by or this girl's husband.
This is probably like a real dude. That's like a street, like someone who knows how to, like beat this guy's ass.
I mean, it's someone confident enough to let his wife do lap dances for strangers in hotel rooms. Like,
sure, yeah.
So apparently he had been texting her being like, "Hey, just let me know if everything's good." And, she wasn't getting back to him. So he's like, "Fuck this. I'm going to see what's up."
Yeah,
there.
they
And
probably had like a signal in place. Like, if I don't respond by this amount of time, come on in.
Yeah, and so he keyed in, and dude freaked out and just took off.
What a dangerous kind of like. But I don't know. I wonder if most of the people that actually respond to stuff like that are, it's Boston. Maybe it's like relatively. It's always just some kind of like guy who lives in the suburbs, like sexually repressed, that's coming to do something like that. He does his business. He pays very well and just gets the hell home.
Yeah,
and then that's it.
These were the dog days of Craigslist.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff, if you were looking to get into anything off the beaten path, there were risks with it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's an app for everything.
Yeah.
And you can verify and this and that. But then you really had to go on Craigslist and put M for T.
I'd love to see this Shark Tank like presentation. Okay, this is for medical students who want to meet up with, sex workers in the Boston. It's like a very specific thing. Yeah. Are you tired of dealing with, unconventional, websites like Craigslist?
Yeah.
And we're going to call it Ashley McAllister.
Yeah.
We're going to call it the Craigslist Killer.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I wouldn't like that idea.
Yeah.
I like everything till the name part.
Yeah. Oh, man. So there's a lot of evidence that the Craigslist Killer left behind, namely digital evidence in the form of emails and pictures, his own face on camera at these different hotels.
That's no bueno. Well, he was on security cameras, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wandering through
This is what was missing from the Strangler case.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't have that
Master
stuff.
criminal. Yeah, they didn't have any cameras anywhere. Definitely at that time.
Yeah. He'd left messages recorded by email providers and IP addresses visible to Craigslist each time someone made a post. So like with Craigslist, if you're selling like a piano and I want to buy it, I will click the button that says, contact you, and it will provide me with an email forwarding address so I can't see your actual address.
Yeah.
But Craigslist can see all that shit.
Yeah.
And they're not like Apple. They'll flip on you.
Yeah, they're not holding back.
They're like, yeah, here, have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't care about your privacy. They don't care about you.
They don't give a fuck. So the police got a hold of that information. They were able to determine that the messages responding to the Craigslist ads had come from an apartment building in or around Boston.
It's coming from inside the Boston.
What's in the fridge? The police had more crumbs from the internet as well. So Internet Sleuth actually kind of helped in this case. They had CCTV footage. Staking out the apartment identified by the IP address, investigators noted Philip Markoff's striking resemblance to the man the police had caught on camera, the Craigslist Killer.
CCTV, that's Comedy Central TV, right?
Yeah. No, this one's more watchable.
Yeah.
They would never have a straight white man. Well, actually, he's not straight, so.
Far from it.
Well, he'd be the new host of The Daily Show now.
Yeah.
Except his stories are real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that could have been, that's his emotional truth. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, for the record, today's date is April 20th, the year 2009. The time is 2:45 p.m.
So this is
Speaker Detective Dennis Harris of the Homicide Unit and also present Detective Robert
them
Kenny.
talking to
The young
him.
man being interviewed here this afternoon is Mr. Phillip.
This sounds like every Boston
Pronounce
cop.
and spell your last name, please.
After he's recognized.
Let me tell you that there have been some incidents and you do match your description. Tell me this, have you ever been to some of the hotels downtown Boston in the past week or so?
Not in the past week.
Okay, before the past week, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You tell me.
Well, my dad and his wife were in Boston, maybe in February, and they stayed at a hotel.
Okay, and what hotel was that?
I don't remember. It's one of the ones near Prudential Center.
Yeah, Prudential Center. Is that the last time, Philip, that you were at a hotel?
I believe.
All right. Could you have been there?
And that's where he was killing one of the girl that he killed was in the Prudential Center.
Couldn't you walk in there and be like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do this?
Yeah.
Walk in the Prudential Center, you're like, everything looks like someone is watching you somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why he would pick such. I mean, he's just not smart.
Yeah, I guess that's it. He's got no common sense.
He's not very prudent.
He probably knows how to dissect a frog and map the human genome, but he doesn't know how to do a murder.
Yeah. You don't know how to do a murder.
You can't do a murder.
What murder?
Yeah, he wasn't even thinking at all, it sounds like.
No. So April 20th, the police pulled over Markoff and McAllister. So his girl's with him.
Ew, woo.
They were heading to Foxwoods, the biggest casino in America.
Wait, what?
It really is.
It is?
Yeah.
I thought for sure the MGM in Vegas or something.
Vegas, apparently it doesn't even come close. Like Foxwoods is bigger as an actual casino than any other in America.
You are so proud.
It's a casino in Connecticut. I've lost a lot of money there, so I want to shout them out.
Connecticut, also. I never do well there.
No.
Who does?
Definitely not Antoine Wallace.
Not Markoff.
Who is that Celtics guy that?
Antoine Walker.
Antoine Walker lost zillions of dollars.
Yeah, he lost like $250 million.
Yeah, something like that.
Insane.
Yeah.
Didn't you get the memo? The house always wins.
That's true.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you didn't have fun.
Same thing with Craigslist. The website always wins.
Yeah.
Craig always wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. As police brought Markoff to the station, other officers searched his apartment where they found bullets, cash, plastic ties, and women's panties.
Oh man. The smoking panties.
Bullets and panties and money. Oh, my.
Yeah. They also found a hard drive that contained messages responding to Brisman's Craigslist post, the woman he killed.
Yep, that's the headshot right there, they call it.
Yeah.
Do you need anything more as far as evidence goes?
You should be able to prosecute him. Yeah.
It's crazy because Megan McAllister publicly stated that he was not the killer. They got the wrong guy. The police, this is like a frame job. He would never do something like this. Even though Philip pleaded guilty at his arraignment within the first 48 hours of being put in jail. He was put on suicide watch when marks from shoelaces were found around his neck. So he was trying to kill himself immediately to get out of the situation.
Man.
She said he's a beautiful man inside and out, and he would not hurt a fly. And she didn't know yet that they had found all the girl's underwear, zip ties, and like stuff under the bed she slept on every night.
Well, that's the ongoing thing. I think that's the common thread of a lot of these murders. Oh, they would never do that.
Yeah.
This guy? No way. You know, DeSalvo and all his brothers claimed up and down, you know, he would never kill anyone, hurt a fly. Even the Cambridge police said he wouldn't kill anyone. And then, you know, inevitably they're the murderers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean he lucked out a little bit. He studying to become a doctor. He knew the human anatomy, and you know, after the first couple suicide tries, he knew where the arteries that would be best to cut so he could actually get out of this fucking mess.
Yeah.
On August 15th, 2010, he ended up slashing his neck and putting a plastic bag over his head and killed himself in jail. The reason I saw that was I was in Seattle doing shows with Doug Benson and Rob Hubel.
Here we go.
And they were like, holy shit, that Craigslist killer just killed himself. And I was like, holy fuck, on my birthday. Let's go.
Yeah. So not only did we get the reference of Kyle's
Benson.
birthday,
Yeah.
and the name dropping
Yeah.
Doug Benson. Doug Loves Movies is, I have friends, shout out to Mac, he's a huge fan of Doug Loves Movies.
Yeah.
I got to get into it. I heard it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
So now we're shouting out fans of this podcast who are also fans
Yeah.
Yes.
that
Of
other
other
podcasts.
Yes.
And Kyle's birthday.
And shout out to my 24th birthday.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on this day.
Yeah.
Kyle's celebrating his birthday.
Yeah,
That's the
of
most
course.
important
Yeah,
thing.
that's most important.
Then this guy killed himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
With the blood that was spurting out of his neck, he wrote Megan on the wall and pocket.
Pocket?
And nobody knows what pocket means.
Wait.
That's like the final mystery.
Was the number 3 in the Megan, like in the,
Yeah.
the robot movie?
Maybe he was writing a longer message and then just fell down dead in the middle of it.
But
Yeah.
why would the sentence start with pocket?
Megan,
Pocket to me.
or pocket my love.
Polly Pocket.
Maybe Pawtucket he was trying to write down.
Ah.
Home of the Paw Sox. No longer, though.
No. That's
Or they thought it was a P and it was an F.
Fuck it. Fuck it, dude. I'm out of here.
He was a fan of Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
And he was
Greg
pitching
Fokker.
a sequel idea.
Yeah.
Pocket.
And Ben Stiller's like, I like the sound of that.
I got a penis, Philip. Can you milk me?
I got a pocket. Can you milk me?
Heard you're looking M for T.
Woo!
Now that's a pocket.
Yeah. William Friedkin's like, I see a sequel in what's that movie? The
Bug?
No, where Al Pacino goes to find the
Cruising.
Cruising, yeah.
Cruising to Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cruising for a bruising.
Yeah, my a kid I grew up with actually lived in the same building as him in Quincy. And I was like, holy shit, did you ever see him around? And he was like, no.
When they said he was from Quincy, I was like, oh, he must have been like some brute, some like goon from Quincy or something.
No, it was a nice apartment building.
Was
Very
it?
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had those.
Yep.
Yeah, he looks relatively normal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Never know, do you?
I left Boston in March 2010, so I must have just missed him.
Yeah.
He's the reason you left.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember his fiance just like going off about how the media was like, you know, trying him and finding him guilty before he even pled guilty.
She was like Rick Pitino when he was yelling at the Boston press.
Yep.
Larry Bird's not coming through that. The Boston Strangler's not coming through that door. And if they do, they're going to be old and gray.
Yeah. And then I remember she went to visit him in jail, and the lawyer was just like, that's the last time she's ever going to see him. She's come to terms with what's gone on, and they're going their separate ways, and they're going to, you know, move on with their lives. Yeah. It's like, I think only one person's going to do that, but sure.
Yes.
I say she dodged a bullet with him.
Dodged a pocket.
Dodged a pocket.
He was out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
Very out of pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows?
This whole court's out of pocket.
Well, that was a delightful story.
Nice. Rest in pocket.
Oh, that's a new costume idea for this year. The Craigslist Killer. Is it too late for that?
Never too late.
Oh, it's early.
Very timely.
Just one of those weird hyperlinks with that email address.
Yeah.
You're just 13 years too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as long as we're going further south, now we get to go down to Marshfield, Massachusetts.
What's going on in Marshfield, dude?
Oh, boy.
Do we got a doozy for you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone, please, if you are paying attention to this, this is now the most personal story yet.
Yes.
You
Even more than my maybe not blood relative Boston Strangler story.
Yeah. Yours is maybe. Mine is pretty positively.
Yeah, there's no ifs, and, or buts.
Yeah. Well, there's some buts.
Oh.
So buckle up.
Big ones.
Yeah, buckle up. Get in the car. We're going down Route 3 to Marshfield, Massachusetts.
Let's fucking go, dude.
So there was a really grisly happening on pretty much Thanksgiving last year, 2022.
Oof.
This young man named Christopher Keeley is shown in this picture here. He killed a couple in their 70s and also murdered their dog.
Whoa!
On Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving week, yeah.
Oh, so like the long weekend.
Yeah. So from Brockton, because that's where he had to go to court.
Yikes.
The Patriot Ledger writes, he's accused of brutally killing a Marshfield couple in their own home and suffocating their pet dog. Suffocating their pet dog, by the way, is like the nicest way they could possibly put it. He put the dog in the oven and turned it on.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Jesus!
Jeez. Is this what he? Is this for Thanksgiving dinner? Is this what he's preparing?
I mean,
was the dog dressed like a turkey or something?
I wish I could say yes, but
I mean, this is heinous.
Yeah, this is awful. Prosecutors provided no clear answers as to why 28-year-old Christopher Keeley would have committed the crimes at a Superior Court arraignment this week. And this is from April 2023. Keeley of Weymouth, Massachusetts, went before a judge in Brockton.
Aren't you from Weymouth?
Wait a second.
Hey,
wait a second.
I'm from Dorchester, and then I went to high school in Weymouth. All right. Keeley from Weymouth went before a judge in Brockton on Tuesday to face 2 counts of murder and additional charges of animal cruelty, car theft, and fraudulent use of a credit card. He was indicted on charges by a Plymouth County grand jury earlier this year and has been in jail since his district court arraignment in December. Keeley, who's represented by attorney Thomas Iovino, pleaded not guilty on all charges. He was ordered held without bail on Tuesday's hearing, where a dozen family members of the victims watched on. Keeley is due back in court in Plymouth on June 29th, so there's got to be an update there. Police stated that Keeley killed Carl and Vicky Matson, both 70, inside their Marshfield home just after Thanksgiving. He's also accused of killing the family dog by locking it inside the oven.
Oh, my God.
That couple looks so sweet.
Oh, yeah. From all accounts, they were extremely nice people and extremely giving people, and that's kind of how this situation happened.
They even have matching shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Assistant District Attorney Amanda Fowle told the court that Keeley knew the Marshfield couple because he was friends with their adult son, who now lives in Arizona. So there's some weird thing where the son moved to Arizona, and he was still staying there. They wanted him to figure it out eventually.
Like they had an adopted son of sorts.
Yeah, you could say that. Keeley lived with the Matsons, quote, for some time in the fall of 2022, but had since moved out. So there's a weird back and forth here where people say he wasn't moved out and then he was, and
okay.
Maybe they were going through like the proper eviction process or something. That's kind of, you can't just kick people out, unfortunately, in certain places. You got to actually go through the court process.
Right. They say it was a fight with friends on Thanksgiving Day that pushed Keeley to Marshfield. The Weymouth woman with whom he was staying asked him to leave following an argument, and friends drove Keeley to the home at 75 Gotham Drive in Marshfield. His friends dropped him off and later told police Keeley was indicating that if things in his life did not change, he might hurt or seriously kill someone.
He might put a dog in an oven.
Yeah.
What a freak.
I mean, if one of you guys told me you might put a dog in the oven, like, I might call someone.
Yeah.
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 Even Christina Parcell from the Rose Petal murder case is going, hey,
you fuck him, you don't kill him.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you monster.
Yeah, what are you, some kind of freak show?
And Tony Soprano would be like, you killed the fucking dog?
What the fuck?
He wouldn't care about the people. Obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Sociopath.
Yeah, he's in therapy over the dog.
Yeah. He killed a little fucking dog. He put it in the oven.
Fucking believe it.
Yeah. He put an apple in its mouth. He fucking put it in the oven.
Oh, my God.
What? This is Tony Soprano saying that.
Yeah, that's true. The prosecutor said it sounded like Keeley snuck into the Matson home on the evening of the 24th and into an upstairs bathroom. The couple was arguing downstairs about their dog's barking, which led Carl up the stairs to check on the dog. There, he found Keeley, and a physical fight followed. Carl Matson was found dead at the bottom of those stairs.
Jesus.
There's no further information as to how Mrs. Matson became involved in the struggle, but she was found in a room near the struggle. There was a knife sticking out of her neck at the time she was found.
That might give a clue as to how she died.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
She's been choking on this knife.
I think I know what happened here.
Yeah. Friends told police they heard from Keeley briefly via Facebook the next day when he sent a message saying there was a 1% chance the Matsons were still alive. Surveillance footage shows Keeley met with friends that day at the Quincy Walmart parking lot while driving the couple's Jeep that he stole. And video shows he may have had help cleaning the car in that parking lot.
What kind of like social gathering? Hey, want to meet in the Quincy Walmart parking lot and hang out?
No, this is the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Yeah, I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah. Joey, Ricky, Donnie.
Yeah.
This guy, Liam, that's Donnie's cousin.
Yeah. The defendant himself.
It's Mark Wahlberg.
The defendant himself, his clothing and his boots were covered in what appeared to be blood. He was brought a change of clothes so that he could change. He spent the next few days staying with friends and used the Matsons' credit card at a bank in Weymouth to buy a bus ticket out of state.
Criminal mastermind here.
Yeah.
So he kills them and he's using all their stuff.
Yeah. Great guy.
This is not whodunit here.
No. Other friends who could not get in touch with Keeley called Marshfield police on the 26th requesting a well-being check at the Gotham Drive address. The home appeared empty, the car was gone, nobody was answering the door, and nothing was amiss outside, police stated. Officers were able to contact a family member of the Matsons who said Keeley no longer lived there, so police left the home. So they were killed on the 24th. They ended up, going there the 26th, and then November 29th, a well-being check was called in for the Matsons. At the same address, police returned and entered through the front door, finding both bodies. The knife is discovered, the amount of blood is found, and the investigation starts in earnest at that time. So it's like 5 days later that everything ended up starting. They said that Keeley's palm print was lifted from the knife. So, pretty open and shut.
Yeah.
When the crime scene technicians returned to continue processing the scene and start cleaning up, they found the body of the family dog inside the oven. Oh, Jesus.
God.
A necrophiliac? Necropsy.
So Kyle's having a stroke.
Is that when they inspect the body of a dog?
Yeah.
They have a different name for it.
I guess so.
Wow.
It's not like the dogopsy?
Whatever they did, a dogopsy. Jesus. They determined it had died from a lack of oxygen.
Cocker spanopsy?
Oh, God.
Come on. Where are my dog heads at?
Keeley, who was 27 at the time, took a bus from South Station in Boston to Georgia and later to Florida.
Next up, Georgia.
Yeah.
It's that same Boston driver, too.
Yeah.
He was listening to Midnight Train to Georgia
Yeah.
on his headphones.
Oh, yeah. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. He was arrested in Miami Beach on December 2nd.
Of course.
And so
everything ends in Miami.
Yeah, that's what was that? The killer of the clothing line.
Oh, the Versace.
Versace.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where that
Cunanan.
yeah.
It's not stated in this article, but from what I've heard, the reason he was arrested in Miami Beach, he had dyed his hair and like changed his clothes and shaved and stuff. So he didn't look the exact same, but he ended up attacking somebody in Miami Beach with a hammer and hitting him in the head. And then that's what he got arrested
Just
for.
some random dude with a hammer.
Yeah.
So in case you didn't think it was nuts yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That pretty much
The cherry on top. Yeah.
At the time of the slayings, the police said Keeley had prior involvement with the court system and that mental health issues could be at play. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has had prior involvement with the court system and being arrested for things. I've known about this for a while because this is my cousin Chris.
Whoa!
Do we have a button for that?
Is there? I guess that'll do.
Yeah. I wouldn't talk about this publicly. I mean, we've all known about this for a while, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty open and shut that he is responsible for this crime. Although, you know, he has to have his day in court, but I don't see him getting out of this one. I stopped kind of talking to him, you know, long ago. He got arrested for setting up a mentally challenged kid. He pretty much had his girl that he was dating message this kid who was mentally handicapped and say, "Oh my God, I've always liked you. We should meet in Weymouth, blah, blah, blah." So he ended up meeting her, and then my cousin and his buddy popped out of the bushes and beat this kid with a bat and stole his money and shit. Like, awful.
My God.
So I was just like, fuck you, dude. Like, I'm not talking to you ever.
What do you attribute this to? Is it like growing up in Brockton and just like being scarred by that, or like Brockton's a very tough?
Well, no,
town.
it's Weymouth. It's a cesspool, but there's like, it's just a weird thing on my dad's side and then my stepmother's side. There's like just some bad seeds. Like everybody else is pretty much honest. Like they just go to work and don't bother anybody. But there is few people that just, I really believe in evil because I've seen it and I know shit like this is like, I've seen it up close and it's just some people you just can't help.
Yeah.
They're just on that path.
They're
and they'll
too
never,
far gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bad seed is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
He was just genetically evil.
Yeah.
Was he doing things to like animals when he was younger that you kind of saw the writing on the wall?
No, I mean, I wouldn't have ever he was the first baby I ever held when I was like 9 years old.
Well, it was all
Good thing I put him down.
all downhill from there.
Yeah,
that was
is
ground
interesting.
zero.
Yeah.
You held him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nuts.
It was the first baby I ever held when I was like 8 or 9.
Man.
What did his eyes look like?
Evil.
Yeah.
Unadulterated evil. No, it was just, you know, he seemed like a regular fucking kid, and then all of a sudden he went to high school and just
He went to Weymouth High?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but you know, I think some people just fall by the wayside and just go bananas. And he
All
got
by the Weymouth side.
by the Weymouth side, yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot
the
more
ticket.
down there, it seems to be.
Way worse than the wayside.
Yeah, way worse. That's the new town name, way worse.
Yeah. That should literally be made.
Yeah. Way worse.
Sprayed over the
Massachusetts.
town. Yeah, you are now entering way worse.
Yeah.
Wicked way worse.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just struggling apparently from drugs and stuff. And but I mean, if you're robbing a mentally handicapped kid at age like 15 or 16, you're old enough to know that you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And
he's evil.
Yeah. Yeah, and being able to actually kill like 2 elderly people that showed you nothing but kindness and invited you into their home, that to me is very disturbing.
It seemed like the way he was talking too. He's like, the world is happening to me, and you know, this is all that's going. People, everything is conspiring in my universe to do this to me. I'm not making any of these decisions.
Yeah,
And
it's like paranoia too.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the nice people that try to help those kind of people end up getting killed or beaten or screwed over.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's got to keep a wide berth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, so I don't know when his actual trial starts or if he's just going to plead guilty, but he pleaded innocent, not guilty to every charge. And it's like, all right, dude.
Is he going to represent himself, or is he got like a court-appointed attorney?
I have no. Yeah, he's got a.
He's got F. Lee Bailey's coming out.
Yeah.
Of the woodwork, coming out of the grave.
No, not for anyone from my family.
He looks like that Joker guy from the Aurora shootings.
Oh yeah.
He dyed his hair red or purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks intense in that picture.
Well, yeah, this is when he wanted to go on the run.
Okay.
So he wanted to change
Oh,
his
yeah,
appearance.
he's trying to change up, yeah.
Like the fugitive.
The fugitive, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with the trial, but
Innocent. He really is pleading innocent.
yeah.
But
Your Honor, that dog committed suicide.
That jumped in there itself.
Yeah. I would never put the oven at 450.
Yeah.
I don't like that temperature.
It's uncomfortable.
475 maybe, 425 maybe, never 450.
That's a bullshit temperature, Your Honor.
The defense rests.
No more questions.
We have like 2 weeks left of this trial.
Yeah.
The defense rests. Your Honor.
No more questions, Your Honor. You were not interviewing anybody.
Yeah. I'd like to adjourn the court. You're like, you can't do that.
I motion that we all get the fuck out of here.
I declare a mistrial.
No offense, but I hope they lock your cousin up and throw away the key.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. That is just absolutely horrendous. And there's no saving somebody like that.
I remember you sent me that, and I was like, very shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said, that's my cousin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so we've known about this since it first happened, but
Yeah.
Now that we
Even
know,
when he was on the run, I remember.
Yeah.
Before they caught him.
Yeah, exactly. He was on the loose, and they were like, he might be somewhere down the eastern seaboard, so keep a lookout.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and we even talked about, I asked you if you were worried that he might even come for you.
Nah.
Yeah, came for the pod.
Yeah. I was like, no, we've never talked about him. Why would he be mad at us?
He's a big Landis head.
Here we are.
Maybe the John Landis head.
Yeah. Season 3 of the Spooktacular. He made it.
Well, he's locked up. We don't need to be afraid of him now.
Nah.
Then he escapes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's just thundering and lightning.
Yeah.
You find me like draped up, like nails in my wrists on the wall, and I'm gutted.
Yeah. It could have been a suicide.
You find me in the oven.
Yeah. He did like a good schwitz once in a while. He liked to sweat it out, as he said. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Well,
People are saying.
That is quite the spooktacular.
Yeah, that.
I know.
Wow.
2 family members involved.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Very
right?
different eras in Boston history. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought my Halloween killer connection was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victim was found dead on your front lawn.
That ain't nothing.
2 of our family members have killed people.
Well, okay. I said it was
Allegedly.
Okay.
Yeah, a murderer threw something on my lawn 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You 2 have murderers in your family.
Yes. Potentially.
Next time you go to your family reunion, be sure to... I got nothing.
Do something.
Do something really funny.
Don't get killed by your nephew? I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the Crypt Keeper that when he runs out of gas. I don't know. Anyway, I've done too much of these.
Yeah, we'll find something eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
The Crypt Keeper as Bill O'Reilly.
Take my cousin, please.
Please.
This fucking thing sucks.
Well, follow us on All That Is Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram, Death and Entertainment. YouTube, Death and Entertainment. TikTok, Death and Entertainment. And
Twitter, Dipod 2021.
yes.
And, of course, Patreon.
Patreon.com/deathinentertainment. Please just type it in if you want to find our content. We've been getting a lot of messages from people saying we are not showing up in the searches because we have been deemed adult content.
Bastards.
So we might as well just show our titties.
That's what's next. That's how desperate we're OnlyFans. We got the OnlyFans being set up.
Death and enter titties.
I'm already showing my titties every week.
Also, Deados Incorporated on Facebook. We have a Facebook group where you can interact and talk with people about, because I post.
Talk with us.
Talk with us. I post the links and some of the pictures from that week's pod, and I put it up there, and you can join and enjoy it.
Yeah, come on board and always creep it real.
Nice. Yeah, we're locked and loaded with a bunch of
Yeah, I know.
And until next week,
don't go dying on us.
Bye-bye.
You fox.
You have just heard
a true Hollywood murder mystery.
I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures
nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.